And as we get you outside today, us and a large portion of the country is under heat advisories. Big heat that I'm going to be taking you hour by hour through for your Friday coming up.
And is in Severe Weather Center 9.
And we take you outside. I was just showing you this map. A large portion of the country is going to be dealing with some big heat again today. And that includes the Florida Panhandle all the way into North Florida, all the way into Central Florida, and changing it up a little bit from yesterday. The entire region of Central Florida under that heat advisory for us today as we go through this afternoon, 11 to 7 o'clock. Again, that 8-hour window where we're going to have the big numbers. Early this morning, warm again, upper 70s, low 80s. Those heat index values, if we check in with them now, we're in the mid 80s in some communities, but more importantly, we've got some 90s over in Leesburg and Claremont. Very steamy as we head over into parts of Lake County for us this morning. And our hour by hour outlook here for your Fridays got those 100-degree readings again in place by 11 o'clock in many spots. There's gonna be a few of us by 10:30 hitting 100. Partly cloudy skies, the possibility of a few isolated showers and storms, which I'll break that down for you coming up. And then we'll take a look at the all-important weekend, the first weekend after the first week of school. Should be a good one. I'll have the details coming up. Alexa.
All right, well, the time now is 4:40, and now is time to check the weather for this Friday morning.
That's right. You know, and a good idea to keep those cooling centers open again today because it's going to be another very hot one across Central Florida. Temperatures early this morning, upper 70s and low 80s. When we stay this warm through the overnight, even with heat index values in the mid and upper 80s and 90s, you don't get that traditional relief through the overnight. That makes the heat sensitivity and the risk for heat illness even higher. And through the day today, we're going to do it again. A heat advisory widespread across Central Florida from our East Coast beaches to the West Coast beaches, all the way up into and through the Panhandle as we go through the day today. So for those who have to be outside, those outdoor workers, extra caution again with that extreme heat. Rain chance is going to be a little bit lower than normal for this time of year, only isolated at best to give us some of that cooling relief. But this weekend, our rain chances are going to start to increase. That'll help us out a little bit, but the temperatures, they will stay quite steamy. Then we've got a tropic updates for you. We're continuing to track Erin, likely later today, going to become our first hurricane of the 2025 season. I'll take you through all the changes happening there out in the Atlantic. Q.
You know, maybe catch up on its math classes. I don't know.
Listen, this morning, Cassie and I had maybe a 20-minute discussion about how scared we are of cockroaches, but we saw that and we were like, well,
That's
small,
nothing.
no problem.
You know what? That big, I don't want to say predictable. I feel like I can
You handle it.
yeah, cockroaches, man.
When they start flying.
They get in place. You don't know where they're going to be.
Forget about it.
I
Okay,
know
I'm with
where
you there.
In your car.
And people are listening. They're like, ma'am, no, you're not going to outrun an alligator or a cockroach at that fact. But we get you outside downtown Orlando, 79 degrees out there this morning. A lot of low 80s again. Heat index values mid 80s, but these ones right here in Leesburg and Claremont, 90 for us early this morning. Not getting that cooling effect through the overnight really leads to that potential of some heat illness, especially for those who may not have air conditioning or a weak system. Now, as we go through the day today, again, 11 a.m. through 7 o'clock, we've got that heat advisory for all of us. Again, 104 to 109 for those peak levels. And many of us are actually going to hit that 103, 104 mark and stay there for multiple hours. You can see at noon, almost all of Central Florida is already over 102. We're going to see a lot of those numbers climb. And at dinner time here on your Friday night, if you've got dinner plans, out and about, 106 in Winter Haven, 107 out in Titusville, still in the 90s at around 11 o'clock. So some big heat with really not huge rain and storm chances today. Isolated at best as we take you through the afternoon to give us a little bit of relief. Now into the weekend, the heat sticks around for us. Look at those temperatures. We're staying in the mid 90s, but our rain chance, that's going to start to climb for us. So that'll at least help us out a little bit with some of that heat as we head through the weekend. But then I want to keep you updated on the tropics. We're going to continue to monitor Erin. The 5 o'clock update just came in. Still a tropical storm. A little bit of struggle as we head through the overnight. But look at the models. Look how tight they are. Again, continuing to keep this north of a lot of the Caribbean islands, turning to the north before reaching the Bahamas. Expecting this to become a hurricane later today as it gets closer and closer. And there are tropical storm watches you can see in place. May get some outer bands, definitely some rough seas. And really, as we head into the middle of next week, you could see a major hurricane off the coast of Florida, off the east coast, east of the Bahamas. That would lead to some pretty rough seas and some high rip current risk for us at our local beaches. So that's really going to be what we'll be tracking as we head through this upcoming week. So our 7-day forecast that weekend always in view. We've got the mid 90s today, tomorrow through the weekend, but improving that rain and storm chance Saturday and Sunday. Q. And as we take you through the day today, big heat returning. We've got heat advisories again up for all of Central Florida. I'll be taking you through the numbers coming up.
Certified meteorologist Kassandra Crimi is in Severe Weather Center 9. Cassie, I know a lot of students have been waiting for the weekend.
It is Friday. I think I said it to my kids last night when I put them to bed. I was like, it's Friday. That means the first weekend. You know, this is big. This is a milestone. But it is going to be warm out there early this morning. We're upper 70s, low 80s. We've got heat index values that throughout the overnight really didn't cool off a whole lot. Just until moments ago, we were still in the 90s over in Leesburg and Claremont. That number has dropped significantly, thank goodness. But look at Sanford, 89 for the heat index right now. We take it through the afternoon. Big levels coming back, and because of that, a heat advisory that instead of like yesterday, it's expanded across all of Central Florida. This goes all the way to Tampa, all the way up to Jacksonville, all the way over to Pensacola when we go into the Panhandle. So big heat for a lot of Florida today. We'll have highs in the mid 90s, but the extreme heat with the humidity is going to put those levels well into the triple digits. So here's a look at that hour by hour outlook. 102 at noon, 105 through that 2 o'clock hour, still 104 as you're picking up the kiddos from school later this afternoon. Big levels. And the heat does continue as we head into the weekend, but we'll get a little bit of a change with some extra rain. That should help us out. I'll have details on that coming up in a few. 5:01 though, it's our time. How are those Friday morning roads?
We start this morning, Cassie, with a live look at the Turnpike. It's moving southbound right at Osceola Parkway. We check your weather and traffic every 10 minutes. We get you on over to certified meteorologist Kassandra Crimi in Severe Weather Center 9. Cassie, quite the lightning show in some areas.
Right. You know, we had those isolated storms the last couple of nights. We'll have a few of them again as we go through this afternoon and evening, which not necessarily the lightning do you want, but some of the showers give us a little bit of brief relief from the heat that we've had the last couple of days. Not everybody's getting it, though. Upper 70s and low 80s early this morning. Big levels again returning. You can see out in Sanford, it feels as though it's 89 degrees because of the humidity that's just locked in place here through the overnight. And because of what is expected to head our direction, a heat advisory is again in place for Central Florida, but it expanded. It's across all of Central Florida, all the way over towards Tampa as well. As we go through the day, 11 to 7 o'clock is when that advisory will be issued. So as we get over to the coastline, Daytona Beach, you can see those temperatures, 90s, again, multiple hours in the low 90s. Heat index values, though, even a longer stretch, over 100, 103 at 1 o'clock, still at 3 o'clock, hitting 103. A lot of us are going to peak in the low 90s at our coastline. Surf height right at around 2 feet for us today. Rip current risk moderate to high. But as we head into next week, our beaches, we're going to see some big changes there and really driven by what we're monitoring in the tropics. I'll have more on that coming up in my full forecast. 5:10 is now our time. We'll get a check of the roads with Alexa.
5:17, and I want to go back to the college drop-off story.
I'm sure they do.
My uncle and aunt are dropping off my cousin at FSU, and my mom is screenshotting me the family text saying they plan to talk to him once a week to not hover. I'm
They
like,
have a plan.
My mom talks to me every day.
Yeah.
I call my mom for everything I do.
Right. I know it's interesting. And I guess when you think about an empty nester, that would be really sad. It doesn't change. If you have 3 kids, like first one's really hard, second one you're kind of like done this,
And
third
the
one you're like,
just get out.
or you're like, oh wow, now I'm really, there's no one. I don't know.
It goes both ways.
I'll let you know in, what was
20.
it, 12 years?
12 years.
Oh, I was giving you more time. I said 20.
They can't stay that long,
She's in first
Alexa. They
grade
cannot
now.
stay
She
that
started first grade this week.
I know, first grade, college tomorrow. We get you outside. Orlando, 79 degrees, upper 70s and low 80s for those morning temperatures. Heat index values in the 80s. Some of us, you could see like Sanford, close to 90. We had some 90s through the 4 o'clock hour still. So again, this just leads to kind of the oppressiveness when you really don't cool off through the overnight. Also, it leads to that increased risk of getting some of those heat illnesses. So really be mindful of that heat today. Everybody's under a heat advisory for all of Central Florida. Heat index values 104 to 109 as we head through the afternoon, and that's peak levels. But look at 1 o'clock. Most of us are at 104, 105, even 107 down in Winter Haven. We're going to stay pretty steady in those type of numbers all the way through the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. Look at the villages in Claremont, Winter Haven, still 104 to 106. We'll eventually see those numbers drop at 10, 11 o'clock. It's still feeling like the low 90s. Now, rain and storm chances, we'll have a few today, isolated really at best, kind of on the lower side of the scale when we talk about afternoon sea breeze storms. But this weekend, we're still going to bring the heat, but as we take you into the afternoon, we'll at least have a better chance of some of those cooling showers. Now, they don't cool us down completely. They give us just a little bit of relief, but we'll take whatever we can get. Then we're tracking Aaron, still a tropical storm this morning, but today is the day where we expect to see this strengthen into our first hurricane of the 2025 season. So you can see that here on the track, becoming a hurricane later this afternoon, early evening, continuing to strengthen, becoming our first major hurricane. We've got some tropical storm watches up, you can see, for parts of the Caribbean. And this storm system expected to be off our coastline as a major storm as we head into next week. This is going to lead to some higher seas, some rough surf, some dangerous rip currents, which we'll be hitting on a little bit as we take you through the next couple of days. But we'll continue to monitor this very closely. As we take you here locally, very hot, very steamy through the weekend, up in that rain chance again. But next week, we do get a little bit drier with those highs returning to at least seasonal levels. 5:20 now our time. We'll get a check of your Friday morning roads with Alexa.
Cassie, thank you. We have